In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the new Read the Web skill. There's two ways to access this skill. On a new session, you'll see the Read the Web button, and under the skills menu, you'll also see Read the Web. So let me show you a few ways of how you can use Read the Web. So in the first example, I've got up here from the Apple newsroom information about their third quarter results. And I'm interested in if my AI agent thinks I should make an investment in Apple based on these results. But I don't want to read the whole report because I don't have time. So I'm going to put in the URL of the third quarter results here and say, should I invest in Apple based on these results? So what my AI agent's going to do is go off and crawl that web page, and then it's going to answer my question. So in this case, it's giving me a conclusion whether or not I should invest, some considerations for my investment, and then a summary of all of the earnings, including the revenue, services revenue, and just a breakdown of everything that I probably should consider. So that's one example of how to use it, just to distill information that you don't have time to read. Let's now look at another example. So I know many of you are in technical industries and have to read a lot of documentation on different maybe products or manuals for machinery, or in my case, a lot of documentation about AI models or code. And I have up here the Meta Llama 3 documentation, and say I want to understand how do I use tool calling with the new Meta 3.1 model. Instead of having to go off and read all of that documentation like I would have in the past, I can use the Read the Web skill to do that for me. So I'll just paste in the URL to that documentation that I was reading and say, how do I do Python tool calling? So again, the AI agent will go off and read all of that documentation for me so I don't have to. It's saving me a ton of time and giving me specific instructions of how to go and do exactly what I want by reading the documentation. It's giving me code examples in this case and step-by-step instructions of how to set up tool calling with Python for Llama 3.1. So a huge time saver and something I find really valuable about its ability to crawl and then digest that information. So, in my final example, imagine you're an educator or you're just trying to explain NASA's latest Europa mission to a young person, and you just want to distill all the information about that mission. Now, you could do web search for this, but if you have a specific source in mind, like I do, which is the Europa NASA landing page, you can just grab that URL, click read the web, put the URL in, and say, help me explain this to a 5-year-old. And so again, it'll crawl everything that it needs to know on that webpage about NASA's Europa mission, and then it'll distill it into something that I can tell my 5-year-old all about that mission and some of the key points in it. So it's really a great productivity tool in your AI workspace to summarize large amounts of information, extract some sort of instructions or data you need from technical manuals, like in the case I presented, and also for educators just to explain concepts really easy when they're browsing a website, to take quite an advanced topic and break it down into something maybe a young person can understand or make an interesting lesson out of it as well. So that's an introduction into the new Read the Web feature. To access it, just click the skills menu and select Read the Web. There's also a shortcut to access it as part of a session. You can type in /read and the user interface will present itself to you instantly. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. There's more to come soon, and I'll see you in the next one.